Hi there, it's Dan Elson from the Salvation Army's Music and Creative Arts team, and today I'm here to make a video about how to make a PowerPoint presentation that looks really good and we can use in worship. If you were with me last time, we talked about what the basic principles are of a really good PowerPoint presentation, or any presentation for that matter, that you're going to put on screen during worship. But today we're going to look at specifically how to design our content, how to find different parts of our content on the internet, and how to insert and include that in a presentation so that it all works really smoothly and it looks really clean. If you were with me last time, you'll know that my 3 C's for a good presentation are clarity, consistency, and contrast. So we're going to make sure that those are at the forefront of our mind as we're designing our PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to jump straight into a new presentation here. Here we go. We've got a blank presentation and we're going to start from there. You can use templates in PowerPoint. There are some good stock ones. You can download them from the internet if you want to. You could design your own, and we're going to do just that. We're going to go really back to basics. So we're going to go to Slide Master up here, View, Slide Master, and now we're going to click on our top slide in the presentation. And this is going to be the presentation basics. This is going to come up on every slide. So I want to change my background. I'm going to format the background here, and I could do something like we did on my presentation last time where I pick different colors. I change the gradient type. So let's go from the top down. Maybe that's a bit light. So here we go. I want to do mine. Let's say we're going to do blues this time. So I'm going to do the darkest blue there. I'm going to choose. I'm just whizzing through this really quickly. If you were doing this, you might, well, give it a bit more time and effort probably to make sure that what you create looks really good. I want the majority of my slide to be dark so that my text is going to stand out there. Something like that will do. Okay, and I can apply that to all of my slides now are going to have that same background. While I'm making my presentation, I'm going to have a hypothetical meeting plan in my mind. So my meeting is going to be based around Psalm 121. I'm going to include a song, a Bible reading, a image that I'm going to use as a sermon illustration, and I want to have a video clip that I can use in my response time. Those are going to be the core parts of my slide makeup. So if I were on this nice blue background here, I'm just going to make sure that my fonts are really easy to read. So I would go for something nice and that stands out really cleanly. So maybe something like a creamy sort of color. So I'm going to go for the lightest yellow, and I'm going to choose a font that looks really clean. So you might want to go through all of your fonts and find some good stuff. You can download free fonts online, but most of the time I think you've got a good set that comes on your basic equipment. And I'm just going to use Helvetica. I think it's a nice, clear, clean font. It's bold enough that it can be read quite easily from anywhere in the room when you've got it on screen. And there's no kind of serifs or strange shapes that are difficult to contend with. I could leave my slide master as that, but actually in this instance, because I'm using a psalm that's quite visual, I want to make sure that my background is an image that reflects what's going on in my psalm. So we're going to do that now. And here we are, we're jumping onto the internet and we're going to find an image. Now, many of you, when you look for a picture, you probably just go into Google and search, jump onto images, and here are some mountains. Which pictures do I have? Well, actually, that's not a great idea. Or almost all of the images that you find on Google Images are going to have copyright restrictions on them because they are owned by somebody and they were created, they're their intellectual property. And a lot of them aren't great in terms of resolution, in terms of size. So I'm going to show you a couple of websites that you can go to get royalty-free, high-quality images. You don't have to pay anything, and you're not doing anything illegal by using them. You could go to Pixabay, you could go to Unsplash. I'm going to use a site called Pexels. And you might want to check the description for this video and make them favorites in your browser so that you can go back to these. These are great sites to use. And as you can see, I've had a little bit of a go. I'm going to choose mountains and I'm going to scroll down. And this photo here has immediately caught my eye. I'm going to click on it. Looks great. I'm going to download it. I could donate to the creator there, but I'm not going to do that in this moment because I want to crack on. And that photo will now have gone directly into my download folder. So here we are in my presentation, and we're back still on my slide master. I'm going to go to insert up here. I'm going to go through my pictures, picture from file, I want to go to my downloads. Here we are. There's the picture that I've just downloaded. You can see it's not quite the right size. So I'm going to stretch it, and I'm going to think about which part of the photo I might miss out on. So I'm going to miss out a little bit at the bottom, I think. So I'm going to stretch it out so that it goes right to the edges of my slide. If I stretched it around and changed the shape of it, it would probably distort the image and it wouldn't look great. So I'm going to do that. Instead, I'm going to stretch it to the right size so it covers the full screen. And I'm going to edit the shape here through crop. And we're just going to stretch it so we can see where the slide finishes there. And now we've got something that's exactly the right shape for my slide. And I'm just going to click on it and right click on it, and I get to send to back, or it's up here if you want it. But I'm going to, there we go. It's now my backdrop for all of my slides over here. You can see my text doesn't really stand out now, so I'm going to change it. What I could do, if I go to home, I could just change the color. I think maybe like a dark gray would stand out nicely on this, and that would probably stand out all the way down across these different colors. But if I had a background that it was difficult to spot text over, I might decide to go to shape, format up here, and I can have my text filled in one color and then outlined like this, so that it really does stand out against every background. It's quite busy to read if there's not a need for it, but if there is a need for it, that's always a good one to have in your back pocket. However, I'm not going to outline it. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to stick with my dark gray, which I like the look of. I'm happy with that as a slide master. So once I finish doing that, I'm going to go to view and back to normal. And here we are. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a welcome slide. And I don't need this text box, so that can go. I'm going to stretch my text box just so that it's all the way across my slide. If you were with me in my previous video, you'll have seen that I do this so that I know when I center something, it really is right in the middle. Here, it's centered there, and I just want to pop it there, right in the middle of my slide. I know it's really perfectly positioned. It's not my guesswork. I'm going to look at maybe a really big, clear font so that it's nice and easy to see. Between each thing in my presentation, I want to have a blank slide. I'm just going to take out that text box. And although it's got kind of something there, actually, when you look at it over here, if I put that on full screen, I'd start my meeting with welcome to worship on the screen. And then I'm going to go to my blank one whilst I'm talking, whilst I might be introducing things. And then we're going to go to our song slide. Like we saw last time, I'm going to drag this in from the left a little bit. And I like my song slides to be left aligned, again, in the middle. And I'm guessing about 48, 50 point is going to be fine for song lyrics. Now, I could type in all of my song lyrics. Actually, if I do that, it's a slow, laborious process. And as you've seen, I make mistakes and they could go unchecked and they could end up in the final presentation, which we don't want to see. So instead, I am going to find the content for my song lyrics on the internet. So here we are back in my browser. I'm going to go to Google because I'm going to demonstrate that if we search Salvation Army Songbook app, the first result is going to be this site from the USA West Territory, where we can search different songs that we want to use. So I want to use To the Hills from the Salvation Army Songbook. I'm going to search. It's going to tell me that it's song 554 in the songbook. And here are the lyrics. I'm going to copy those across to my slides. So I'm copying 4 lines there. I've highlighted them and I've Control and C to copy. And I'm just going to highlight what I've got there. Don't want that anymore. I'm going to Control and V. And here are my lyrics. I like to have 4 lines of text on screen at once, no more. So I'm going to change that size back down to 48 as I had it before. And it gives me some space. And here we go. There's my text. I think that looks good. What you will spot is that here, I want to read through my text and make sure it's right and there's no inconsistencies. Consistency was really important, wasn't it? Okay. So here we go. 2, we've got a capital O there. So I'm just going to change that 1. The rest of that slide looks great. I'm going to copy my slides. So I'm going to select it over here and I'm going to copy it again for the next 4 lines of my song so that I know it's exactly the same. The format is as it should be. And I'm going to jump back over to my website and copy the next 4 lines of text. And when I come in here, I'm going to Control and A So I select all of it and I'm just going to replace it with the text. And again, you'll have seen that for some reason that website is trying to make my font 60 point, which means that it's not going to fit on a full line on a screen there. You've got people singing by divine appointment they stand. So it's going to get really confusing. We want to change that just back to 48 again. And it's nice and clear. I'm just going to demonstrate the last part of my slide then, of my song lyrics. I'm not going to do every single slide, but the last part here, I'm going to go and copy the last part of my lyrics here. So I'm just going to take the last 4 lines and they're going to be on my last slide. And I'm going to put them in here. Again, I'm going to change them to the right size, but I've copied them in and they're accurate. Now on my last slide, if you were with me last time, I like to include a little symbol in the bottom corner on the last slide that just tells the pianist, the accompanist, the bandmaster, whoever it is, that it's the end of the song. So I've written an end, I've chosen a text box here, I've put it in the bottom corner, I've typed an end, I've changed the color, I'm going to change the font so it's the same as the rest of our presentation, and that's probably big enough. I'm going to right align it so it gets nice and tucked in the corner and then just place it neatly somewhere over here. When I'm being the core pianist and I'm playing along, if I haven't got the songbook in front of me, I can look up at the screen, I can see, we're at the end of this song, I need to slow down and make sure everyone stops singing. We've got a consistent layout across different slides there. We've got contrast, we've got a light color background, so we've gone for dark text, and we are making sure that's got the contrast, and we've got clarity because we're using a nice clear font and good size. I'm going to put my blank slide in between because, again, as I said last time, you want to make sure people aren't reading something on the screen when you're trying to get them to concentrate on something else. So you want a blank screen the rest of the time. Now I've copied my lyric slide across again, but this time we're going to use a Bible reading. So we're going to find Psalm 121 on Biblegateway. So I'm back across to my browser and I'm going to type in Biblegateway. Here we are. This is a great site for looking up your Bible readings. Again, because you're copying and pasting, you know that what you get is accurate. I've typed in Psalm 121 and I can choose from all of these different translations. If I know in particular what translation I want, I can find that, but otherwise I might just try some of the ones I like that tend to work well for me and my congregation. For this one, I'm going to use the Passion Translation. I'm going to highlight my text there. So I'm going to go for the first couple of verses together. I don't want the numbers on screen, and I'm going to copy those. Back to my PowerPoint presentation, and I'm highlighting and I'm pasting in. And again, I'm going to left align that. I'm going to make sure it's about 48, I think was the right size for last time. But look at this, so inconsistent with where the alignment goes. So let's tidy that up. And let's make sure it reads smoothly and it's easy to follow. And I'm quite happy with that. It is 5 lines. It's slightly more than I would normally have, but there we go. The other thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got my Bible reference down here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to borrow my end slide, my end box. I'm going to highlight it and copy it just so I know it's in that bottom corner nice and neatly. And I'm going to put in Psalm 121. We've got the Passion Translation. Now I want to make that fit nice and neatly in the bottom right hand corner. So I'm just going to move that up so it fits nicely there. So people who want to, they can look that up later in the week. They can check that out. I'm going to just italicize it so people can see that you're using the contrast between bold, clear font and italicized for other information so that people know that this is the thing they're focused on. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to do verse 3 and 4. So back across to Biblegateway, and we'll kind of copy 3 and 4. And we're going to see what that looks like when we put it into our PowerPoint presentation. So here we're going to highlight all and just paste it in. And again, it's coming looking a little bit messy. I'm going to change it to 48 point. I'm going to get rid of some of these gaps. I'm going to get rid of those numbers. The verse numbers are useful in some contexts if you want people to notice the verses, but I don't really think that's important here. I want people to actually just focus on what is the content of this Bible verse. So this is starting to look a bit messy, and maybe I would spend some time removing that verse onto the next slide to make it easier for people to read. But I think for now, we'll leave it at that. So I would continue with my Bible reading all the way through. I'm going to take my blank slide, I'm going to copy that, and again, I'm going to paste it. And on my next slide, I'm going to include another image. So back we go to my browser, and I'm going to go back to Pexels. I'm just going to go person and mountains and see what happens now. So here are my results. I'm just going to slide down, see if I can find something that I like the look of, that I think works well for the illustration that I need. And I quite like this one over here. So again, I'm just going to download that. Thank you, Gabriella. I could donate to her, but I won't at the moment. And here we are. I'm going to insert my picture from my file, exactly like we did with the slide master. Here we are. And here's my picture. Now, again, I can crop that. I can fit that to the full screen. If I stretch that, it starts to look a little bit odd. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to stretch the corner so I keep the right dimensions. And then I'm going to crop it so that it fits my slide. And again, it's the bottom of this slide that I feel I can afford to lose some of the picture on. And for me, that's going to be my picture. That's just going to be an illustration in my sermon. After that, I want to include a video for my reflection time. So I'm going to use something that I've already got on my hard drive as a starting point. So here we are. I'm just going to add in a new slide at the bottom there, which is essentially like my blank slide from before, but I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to go to video here. Now, when I'm including video, I'm going to do something from file. So I'm going to go to my documents and find the video clip that I want. I'm going to use Paul Sharman's band piece, Everlasting Hope. And did you see what I did there? Sorry, I whizzed through that really quickly. I went to insert, video, I searched, I found the file, and then it brought it into here. Sometimes if you've got PowerPoint set up in a particular way or your slide set up in a particular way, PowerPoint will fit the video to your screen, but I'm going to stretch it out and make it fit my screen for myself. And there you are, it pulls in beautifully. If I press play, just so you can see what the video is like. We've got a selection of kind of video clips with the staff band playing in the background. And that's going to be used for my response time. If I go up here to playback, and for me, the important thing is here next to start, I want it to start automatically as soon as this slide comes up. That's where I've got a blank one before it and after it, and I'm going to go to automatically. So what that will do, I've been speaking on Psalm 121, and then we sit down and I'm going to press next slide, and it just plays. If I don't do that, we get that awkward moment where somebody's cursor is hovering around the screen trying to find the play button, and that's a little bit off-putting, especially at response time. Now, I could do that because I had that video on my computer already. And I guess what you probably need to do is to find the video clips that you want to use. And if you're able to download them freely from sites, there are some really great ones on the Salvation Army's online resource center that you could use. Then go there and get on with that. And that's fantastic. If you want to learn how to make your own video presentations that go along with a piece of music, I'm going to do that in the next video. But if you want to use a video clip from the internet, it is possible to drop in those online videos into your PowerPoint in some instances. So some people, when they go to here and they click video, they have an option for online video, and they might be able to select that. And then you can copy in the address of your YouTube video. So let's do that for a second. So here we are in the Music and Creative Arts YouTube channel. I'm going to go to videos so that I can see what I've got. And I'm going to scroll down to the one I'm looking for. Where are we? There's this fantastic video that Nick did for Oh Praise the Name. Once I found the video clip I'm happy with, and it's played there in the background, I'm going to go on to share, and it's going to give me an option for embed. This text will come up here, and I'm just going to copy that. There are two ways to put it into my PowerPoint presentation. I can either go up here, and you might have the option to add an online video file, and if you did, you'd click on that, and then you'd be able to paste in the embed link that you just copied from YouTube. That's one way. Not all versions of PowerPoint have got that. You can see I don't have that there. And unfortunately, the way my Office 365 has been set up on my machine, it means that I can't do the next step. But I'll show you that if you click on my add-ins, you can search add-ins and you can find the web video player. And that's an extension to YouTube. Unfortunately, you can see mine isn't set up correctly, but if you were on your own personal machine, you might be able to use it like that and copy in that embed text from YouTube to put your video into the center of your screen. Again, you stretch it out like we did with the picture and make it full screen if you wanted to. So we've set up our presentation for the meeting. We've got empty slides in between. We've used contrast, so we've used a light color background and some dark text so that it really stands out. We've got clarity because we've given things space. We've made sure our fonts are large and there are only a few lines of text on screen at any one moment. And we are consistent from one slide to the next using exactly the same format. The reason I've copied and pasted across is so that we can make sure that our slides are exactly consistent as we go through our presentation. And what that does, it just means that nobody is watching the presentation thinking, oh, that's happened, or oh, have you noticed that, or what's going on there? They're just being able to take in what they need to from the screen. So they're taking the lyrics, they're taking the Bible reading, they're seeing the image that might conjure up something in their mind to do with the psalm that we're talking about. And hopefully that's helped aid worship. It's a tool to aid worship, a presentation, really. It's not any more than that. It shouldn't be anything special. It just needs to be there and doing the job so that people can engage in worship and connect with God in the right way. So I hope that's been useful to you. And in my next video, we will look at how to create a presentation that goes alongside maybe a live piece of music like a band piece or a sung solo maybe, or even with a recording that we might want to make. So we'll look at that next time. See you then.